So wedding season is upon us. And you guys know most people get married in the spring, summertime. But did you ever notice that it's cheaper to get married in the fall or winter time? So I'm going to be sharing with you guys 20 patterns so you can look good for your next wedding guest event. So if that's some content you would like to see, please continue to watch. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs. In this video, I'll be sharing with you guys 20 patterns that you can sew up for your next wedding guest event. So let's go ahead and dive right on in. But if you are new to the channel, welcome. Hello, Ciao, Guten, Aloha, Hola, Konnichiwa, Gwaan, Sabonani, Shalom, Bonjour, Tarve. If you are returning, you guys know what to do. Quick snack, something to drink, grab a notebook, of course, grab something to write these patterns down. So without further ado, in order to keep this video short, sweet, give you all the deets and the news that you can use on this video, let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so these 20 patterns are very easy and easy to sew. Listen, when it comes time for wedding guests, you don't want to spend all that time making patterns, okay? So we need something that's cost effective, easy to sew, and you could do relatively quickly. So I came up with 20 patterns in order to do so with that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the first pattern, being Simplicity 3001. And the reason why I chose this pattern is simply because, one, it's easy to sew, it's a V-neck dress, it has front and back gathers, have that keyhole opening. So I felt like this would be one of the patterns that you could definitely sew up for your next wedding guest event, okay? So you don't want to look better than the bride, but you do want to look put together, all right? Let's go ahead and get into the second pattern, which will be Simplicity 9010. So the reason why I chose Simplicity 9010, you guys know that Mimi G herself sewn this pattern. You know Brittany J. Jones sewn this pattern as well. So many ladies have sewn this pattern, and I think this pattern would be really good to do for a wedding guest. Now, this pattern features like a loose fitting dress with elastic back and a grown on sleeve. All right, so it includes a crossover back neckline and short or midi length as well. It is suitable for your woven fabrics as well. So I feel like this one would be good to do, and it would be the perfect dress for, you know, if you're attending a wedding. So let's go ahead and get into the next pattern. And the next pattern is Simplicity 9326. Yes, I do have my notes. So if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing, okay? My notes, all right? So the next pattern is 9326. And this pattern, my girl, Raven Marine, Raven from Raven Marine, she sewed this dress, I believe, for the Atlanta Frocktail. If you missed her video behind the scenes of her creating the dress, I'm going to go ahead and link that video in the description box below. I'll also put my video from Atlanta Frocktail here, right here on the screen, so you're able to see that as well. All right, so for this dress is just basically a dress that you can sew up with or without the ruffles on the neckline. And then the bodice is also lined for this dress. It comes with princess seams on the bodice, and it has a skirt, and it is definitely bra friendly, okay? So for those of you who have like bit tatas, you could definitely sew this pattern because guess what? It's bra friendly. You're welcome. All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern, being a Mimi G and Aronica McCall. Aronica was on the pattern of Mimi G's pattern, which is Simplicity 9776 and 9777. So for this pattern, Mimi G kept it super easy to sew up for a Mrs. Caftan. All right. And listen, you guys, I know back in July, they did the Sew Caftan 24 on the Simplicity website, and I did not even participate because my July was just busy, crazy, okay? But I feel like, if I remember correctly, this pattern is definitely a 5 and below, meaning that all the pattern pieces in this pattern is less than 5 pattern pieces, okay? So a lot of the ladies sewn this pattern up, and you could get this done like every bit of 3 hours or less, okay? And of course, Mimi G has a sew along for this dress. I love the fact that it's like off the shoulder, that one sleeve, elastic waist, you know what I mean, okay? But 9776 and 9777, which is the plus size with Aronica or AKA needle in the bill. All right. So yes, you could definitely sew this pattern up as well in so many different fabrics. Let's go ahead and get into the next one. So the next pattern, my girl Onika from Lady O. All right. So she sewed this pattern for hashtag Hot Girl Summer this year when I hosted Hot Girl Summer for New Look Patterns back in June. She sewed New Look 6731. And this pattern, you guys, okay, listen, I don't care if you have a little bit of baby fat, back fat, all the rolls, you name it. You can still sew this pattern up because if you look good, guess what? You know you look good, so feel good. All right, so look good, feel good, right? And this one is like a cutaway dress in 2 different lengths. You have the shoulder straps going on. You have the crisscross going on at the back. You could do it as a closed back or an open back. Now, my girl Onika, she did the open back, super sexy, and an Ankara print. I'm going to go ahead and put that video up on the screen so you're able to see that as well. But I feel like for this one, as long as the wedding event is towards the early fall, like August, September, maybe the first week of October, you could get away with it because everyone start getting chilly weather and you know, like late October. However, we don't get chilly weather like that in Florida. So you'll still be good sewing some summer stuff all the way up until Thanksgiving time. You're welcome. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into the next pattern being McCall 7970. So McCall 7970 is basically your loose fitting pullover dress in 2 different lengths, and it has elastic waist for that dress. This dress is more of like an on the formal side, not like too dressed up formal. But I feel like this dress is for those who's going to a wedding for someone that's like over 50. No shade to anybody, right? I feel like this is more like the modesty pattern that you would want to gravitate to. It is long, but you could definitely make it short. You have different sleeve options. You have a flounce. You could do the long sleeve. You could do a short sleeve. You could put the ruffles at the neck. You can leave it off. You can make tiers. There's so many things you could do with this pattern. So once again, it's McCall 7970. Moving over to the next pattern, which is 7971. And 7971, this one, I know Erica Bunker did this pattern, but the dress is a line dress, fitted bodice for this pattern as well. It does feature a invisible back zipper. And then this one also has sleeve variations, short sleeve. You have like a ruffle sleeve. You have a short sleeve you could do. So many different options as well. This dress has skirt variations as well. So you could do just a regular skirt. There's also a version where you could have a slit on the side and so a little bit of leg, if you know what I mean. So you can do various hacks on this pattern as well. But once again, it's 7971. Moving over to the next pattern, and that pattern is a oldie but a goodie. And this one is so many people's favorite pattern to do. McCall's 7999. So here's the thing, hear me out for 7999. So this pattern is something that you could put together in 2 hours and done. You can literally sew this pattern in knit for sure on your serger. Okay, you don't really have to even do no stitching. Just sew it on the serger, you'll be fine. Okay. All right, so Brittany J. Jones have done this pattern. This is like one of those patterns that if you lost your sojo, get it back with this pattern. Why? Because if I remember correctly, this pattern is like 4 pattern pieces. You have your front, your back, and I think the front and the back is the same pattern piece. And then you have your sleeve and a neckband. That's it. 3 to 4 pattern pieces, okay? And probably a facing piece, if I remember correctly. But it's not many pattern pieces, and this is a good pick-me-up pattern when you lost your sojo. And it would also be super cute to have a fitted dress for the next wedding guest event. Don't you think? All right, let's go ahead and get into the next pattern, which is McCall's 8060. And for McCall's 8060, I did this one a very, very long time ago when it first came out, to be honest with you. This is a sleeveless dress that has princess theme. It has like a fitted line bodice, also pleated skirt, hemline variation, back zipper. And now it also features like a high-low hem, which means that with that high-low hem, you will have the wrong side of your fabric showing. Now this one is easy hackable. If you are going to a event that have like colder weather, I would definitely say put some sleeves. And I think this would be a good hack if you did like puff sleeves, like the puff sleeves with this one, have that pleated skirt. And definitely you could color block and make a different, like a belt, you know. I could see many different things that you could do with this pattern, but it's an easy to sew pattern for sure. So this would be really good for your next wedding guest event. Next pattern, McCall's 8105. Now, before you get on me and be like, Rochelle, that's like a spaghetti strap dress. You're absolutely right. But like I said, you could wear this dress and put like a shawl on it, over it. You could put like a duster over it. You could put a coat over it. Like this one is so versatile, which is why I chose this pattern. Now, a couple of things about this is this one is a tied back faux wrap. Faux means fake, okay? So faux wrap dress. So it's a fake wrap dress, and it has length and hem variations. So that's why I chose this pattern, because I feel like this would be a really good one that you could put in, you know, to make up for your wedding guest event. All right. So let's go ahead and move into the next one. McCall's 8438. And if the plus size is McCall's 8439. And listen, y'all, I was really taking care of the plus size girlies as well when I was thinking of some of these patterns. Give some options for our plus size girly to make this video size inclusive. So with that being said, this is the dress in a shrug. Now, if I remember correctly, this pattern is like 5 pattern pieces, okay? So not many. Now, I have not sewn this pattern, but I know Rachel from Rachel Lynn Creates on Instagram. She did this pattern. I think it's this pattern. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's a 8340 or something. I can't remember. I thought it was this pattern that she did for the South Florida Frocktail back in 2023. But this one is just basically a dress with a shrug on it. You could do with or without the shrug. And I think this is super, super cute pattern for sure. For, you know, something you could sew really, really quick. Be taking notes, all right? Let's go ahead and get into the next one, which is McCall's 8380. So I know Raven from Raven Marine, she sewed this pattern. She actually have a full sew along for this video. For that pattern. She have a video that's a sew along for that pattern, 8380. Now that pattern is just basically a dress with like a shoulder tie for that one. So it's a 1940s era, which, by the way, Simplicity is hosting Sew the Decade. So you can sew any decade of your choosing. It's going on for National Sewing Month, this month in the month of September, all the way to September 30th. You just need to sew any pattern that's a vintage pattern from any decade that you love. All right, this pattern would be a really good pattern for you to do that. And you can also follow Raven's video that she did a complete sew along for this pattern. McCall's 8380. I love the fact that it has that one shoulder. You could tie it into a bow. If I remember correctly, Mimi G did a pattern similar to this way back in like 2013. I don't remember the pattern number. I have the pattern, okay? And it looks super similar to it as well. If I remember the pattern number, I'll put it up on the screen for you as well. But yeah, that's what that is. All right, so let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. The next pattern is a Vogue pattern, and it's Vogue 8814. Now, before you get on to me, I have like 2 of these patterns, but It's a drop waist dress. And I like this one because I like the fact that you have like, you have the crisscross in the back, but you also have like a nice spaghetti strap front bodice as well. I like the flare. It has French darts that you'll be making. It's close fitted through the bust and have a scoop neckline as well. If you are looking at a different view, you could do that scoop neckline, or you could do more of like that V style neckline as well. But I like this one. One thing that you may want to consider with this one is it has cup sides. So make sure you are measuring to fit into those cup sizes. All right, let's move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is 1544. And I like this one because it is a line shift dress with back drop collar and a tie. So the reason why I chose this one is because if you are looking to kind of be more coverage, be more covered and modest for a wedding guest, right? As a wedding guest, you could have that collar come through the back and have it tie in the back, and you still fully covered in the front and in the back. So I felt like this one would be a really good pattern to do for, you know, if you're a wedding guest as well. Let's go ahead and move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is Vogue 1692. And this pattern is more like a racer back dress style pattern. I like this pattern. It took me forever to get this pattern, but listen, if you don't get these patterns when they first come out, guess what? You'll spend time waiting or going to eBay, Etsy, or Amazon paying 4 times the amount or more, okay? Sometimes, you know, if it's a really good pattern, the owner will make you pay $25 if you really want the pattern. But I'm gonna say, if you can do some hack, I'm just gonna say hack the pattern and get what you want, all right? But this seems to be a really good pattern, being Vogue 1692. Moving over to the next pattern. Next pattern is Vogue 1699. It is a loose fitted dress, line dress. It's fitted through the bodice. For this one, it has a back zipper, sleeve, and length variation. Now, this dress does remind me of Simplicity 8013. You could do that as well for your next wedding guest event. But I figured that this Vogue dress is not only easy to sew, but it fits the bill for something elegant as well. All right, so let's move over to the next pattern. So the next pattern is Vogue 1723. And one thing that, you know, draws me to this pattern is the puffy sleeve. I would definitely use a crepe back satin for this dress. I know 85th and Wade, V from 85th and Wade, she did this pattern in an Edgar print. So yes, definitely check her out. I'll put her link in the description box below. Vogue 1723 is that pattern number. Let's go ahead and get over to the next pattern. And that pattern is Vogue 1802. So with that pattern, it is an easy to sew pattern. It is a dress that is close fitting through the bust and fully lined with high collar, pleated details at the neck, and then have that back zipper. You can do the hook and eye closure if you choose to, but you guys know Rochelle is lazy when it comes to hook and eye closures, all right? But yes, that's Vogue 1802. And the last pattern, Brittany J. Jones did this pattern. She has I think she did a sew along for this pattern if I remember, but it's Butterick 5850, which is another pattern that I think this pattern is a 1950s, 1960s pattern as well. But the dress is like a fitted dress. It has like the line bodice variation, gathered skirt. I don't even think you could actually do this one in a single layer. I believe you would definitely have to line this dress as well, because it does feature, I don't know if that's a faux wrap or if it's a real wrap, you know, there. But the wrong side will show if you are doing the tie-ins version as well. So I believe View B, which is the wrap dress, I think it's a mock wrap, which means kind of like it wraps but not all the way around. But yeah, I like this dress. Once again, it's Butterick 5850. All right, so those are all the 20 patterns that you can sew up for your next wedding guest on the fly. Something that doesn't take so much time, okay? Well, that's it for this video. And if this video was educational, encouraging, and fun. Stay tuned for my next video as I'm going to be sharing with you guys 20 trench coats that you can make this fall, this winter, and even be lazy and make it easy. They're all easy to sew pattern. So stay tuned for that video. Until next time, keep sewing.
If they throw me into a cell, I know wife she paying the bill. Cause I can afford to be quiet. My city is dying and children are crying. Be alert, not devour. The enemy's prowling you just like a lion. But we got the keys, I promise you. Hold on to the peace inside of you. No, I'm not alone.